There's a quiet revolution happening just beneath the surface, and you won't hear it turning or tumbling. No pitchforks, no messy piles, no foul smells wafting through your garden. Just a narrow trench, dug with intention, filled with nature's waste, and left to disappear. It doesn't look like much at first, but give it time, and it transforms into a humus-rich gold mine under your feet. This guide is for every gardener who's tired of the constant maintenance of traditional compost piles, the rodents they attract, or the aesthetic mess they create. It's for those who want results beneath the surface, rich, dark, sponge-like soil that teems with life and locks in moisture. And the best part? It takes almost no effort after you bury it. Let's dig into the lazy genius of trench composting and how it becomes an underground humus factory, naturally. For many home gardeners, traditional composting can feel like a chore. Turning the pile regularly, balancing carbon and nitrogen, keeping it moist but not soggy, it's all too easy to get it wrong. When compost piles are left dry or poorly managed, they slow to a crawl or worse, rot and smell. And even when done perfectly, the finished compost isn't humus, at least not yet. Compost is a step in the process. Humus is the destination. Humus isn't just decomposed food scraps. It's the stable, sponge-like organic matter that resists further breakdown, rich in fungal networks, and critical for building true soil health. And here's where trench composting quietly outperforms, by mimicking how forests work, layering, covering, and letting microbes, fungi, and worms do the work in peace. At its core, trench composting is as simple as it sounds. You dig a trench about 8 to 12 inches deep, you fill it with kitchen scraps, garden clippings, wilted plants, or pulled weeds. Then you cover it back with soil and, well, just forget it. There's no turning, no smell, and no visible mess. But underground, a transformation is underway. Buried organic matter begins to break down slowly, aided by the soil's existing microbial and fungal life. Earthworms move in, fungi spread through, and moisture is retained perfectly in the soil column. Unlike compost bins exposed to air, this method fosters an anaerobic to aerobic shift that builds long-lasting humus, dark, structured, water-retentive soil that plants absolutely thrive in. When organic waste is buried instead of piled, the surrounding soil moderates temperature swings and moisture levels. This steady environment favors fungal decomposition, the type of breakdown that humus depends on. Fungi thrive where conditions are calm, undisturbed, and shaded from harsh sun or air exposure. It's also a worm magnet. Earthworms are naturally drawn to rotting material underground. They move in to feed, tunnel, and leave behind castings. Their activity fluffs the soil and accelerates humus formation without you ever lifting a shovel again. And unlike compost piles, there's no evaporation from wind or heat. All those nutrients stay locked in, protected by the soil cap above. Most importantly, trench composting doesn't disrupt your garden. You can dig the trench along pathways, between rows, or in fallow beds. Once buried, it's invisible. You can walk, plant, or mulch over it while the magic happens beneath. The best materials for trench composting are the same ones you'd normally compost. Vegetable peels, fruit scraps, spent flowers, grass clippings, wilted greens, and pulled weeds that haven't gone to seed. Avoid meat, dairy, or anything too oily. These can attract pests or throw off the balance of decomposition. Fall is honestly one of the best times to start. With gardens winding down, you'll have plenty of trimmings and spent plants just lying around. So, dig a trench along your dormant beds or pathways, bury your green waste, and let it break down over winter. By spring, the area will be fertile and full of microbial life, and in warmer climates you can actually do this year-round. And if you have straw, shredded leaves, or old mulch, well, just layer it on top of the waste before covering with soil. This adds carbon, balances the material, and provides a scaffold for fungal networks to form. Within weeks, the buried material softens and darkens. Within a few months it transforms into humus-rich soil with no signs of the original waste remaining. Within 72 hours, microbial activity begins. Heat builds slightly underground, and moisture from the buried scraps creates the perfect decomposition pocket. Worms arrive in a matter of days, especially if your soil is already healthy or mulched. In 2 weeks, the buried matter is unrecognizable. In a few months, the trench becomes a living strip of humus. So if you dig into the trench after about 60 to 90 days, you'll often find this dark, rich material with these fungal threads, worm tunnels, and a crumbly texture. This isn't just broken down compost, it's actually humus beginning to form. The longer it stays buried, the more stable and, beneficial it becomes. And unlike surface compost, it won't leach nutrients in heavy rain or lose carbon to oxidation. The beauty of trench composting is just how invisible and effective it really is. There's no pile that you have to monitor, no flipping, and honestly, no need to protect it from pests or the weather. It kind of mimics natural forest decay by keeping the whole process beneath the surface, undisturbed and balanced. Over time, if you rotate trenches across your garden, like one season between rows and the next under a path, you're gradually transforming your entire garden into a humus-rich ecosystem. It's soil building without all the work, and honestly, the long-term payoff is enormous. If you're struggling with poor soil, compacted beds, or compost piles that just never seem to finish, dig a trench. Fill it with waste. Forget about it. And months later, you'll uncover the kind of rich, dark earth that holds moisture, breathes with life, and feeds your plants with every season. For more lazy genius soil hacks that actually work, don't forget to subscribe to Hydrohaven. And if you found this guide helpful, go ahead and share it with a fellow gardener who's tired of compost piles and ready for something better, beneath the surface.